Apple is rumored to be holding an event on March the 8th, according to Mark Gurman, to announce some brand new products. So here are not 2, not 4, but 5 Apple products to expect. At number 5, we have the iPhone SE 3. This has been directly mentioned by Mark Gurman in his report, so I'm going to give this one a 100% chance of actually happening in March. Plus, the iPhone SE 2 came out in April of 2020, so it is about time that we got a new model. The design is set to remain identical to the iPhone SE 2's design, which already borrowed the iPhone 8's chassis, which already used the iPhone 6's front, a phone that was released back in 2014. The chip is set to be upgraded to either the A14 or even the A15, as when the SE2 launched, it too came with Apple's most powerful chip at that time, which was the A13. The camera is also set to be upgraded. It would still be a single camera module, and since there isn't enough room in this body for the iPhone 13's module, I expect this to be either the same module as on the iPhone 12 or even the same module as on this iPhone SE 2, but with improvements to image processing thanks to the Apple A15 chip. On top of this, it is set to feature 5G. Now, I am a bit worried in terms of the battery life here, as the iPhone 12 mini was already known to have a very poor battery life due to how small it was. And the 12 mini actually had a larger battery than the iPhone SE 2 by quite a noticeable margin. The SE 3 isn't set to be getting any thicker, so it will likely retain the same battery size as the iPhone SE 2, which does get me quite worried. But regardless, if you have always been a fan of this iconic design with a physical home button, now you can get an even better camera, even better performance, as well as 5G. Okay, number 4, we have the iPad Air 5. And just like the iPhone SE 2, this one has also been mentioned in Mark Gurman's report, and since it too hasn't been updated since 2020, I am giving this a 100% chance of happening as well. The main change here would be the upgraded chip, which will be bumped to the A15 from the A14. 5G is also set to be added to the seller model, and on top of this, I also expect the cameras to be upgraded too. More specifically, the front-facing camera, which saw the addition of center stage on the 2021 iPad. This will be added to the iPad Air 2. Now, I do wish that Apple would drop the price of the Air, as right now, it is only $200 less than the iPad Pro. It does of course come with a lot of features when compared to the iPad Pro, like the 120Hz ProMotion display, Face ID, the M1 chip, Thunderbolt, the improved cameras, but I just feel like the $200 difference compared to the Pro is just not enough. I do think that Apple should lower the price by at least another $100, although that wouldn't happen, as then it would be the same price as the iPad mini. Now, aside from the iPhone SE 3 and the iPad Air 5, Mark Gurman also reported that some new Macs will be coming at this March the 8th event. And on top of this, tech website Consomac found out that Apple has registered 3 new Macs in the Eurasian Economic Database, or EEC, with model numbers 82615, 82686, and 82681, 2 of which are said to be desktops, while 1 is said to be a laptop. So at number 3, we have the new Mac Mini, to which I'm also giving a 100% chance of happening. Something else that I'm also giving a 100% chance of happening is you fixing any issues that you're having with your Mac, with Clean My Mac X, our sponsor for this video. If you have an older Mac, or even if you have the brand new 14 and 16-inch models and you want to make sure that they stay fast, then Clean My Mac X is the all-in-one tool that can do that. With Clean My Mac X, you can optimize your Mac by deleting unnecessary cache files, re-indexing Spotlight, repairing disk permissions, completely removing every trace of an app, and so much more. Check out Clean My Mac X by using the link below. And now, back to the new Mac Mini. It is rumored to feature a complete redesign, built from the ground up with Apple Silicon in mind, as opposed to the current M1 Mac Mini, which simply recycled the old 2018 design. This new design has been leaked by Jon Prosser before, and I gotta say, it does look pretty sleek, with glass on the top and an aluminum frame around it. And I do predict that it might actually come in the same colors as the 2020 M1 iMac. On top of this, Mark Gurman reports that there will be 2 new Mac Mini models this year, a regular and a Pro version. I do believe the one that will be announced at the event to be the Pro version, one that comes with Apple's M1 Pro and M1 Max chips. These chips have already proven to be incredibly powerful, with significant advancements over the M1 in the GPU department. This will make the new Mac Mini probably the best Mac to get if you want the best possible performance without spending a lot of money. Now, I do plan on making a more detailed video on this new Mac Mini, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. Number 2, we have the iMac Pro, the update to the 27-inch model that is literally the only Mac outside of the Mac Pro that is still running on Intel chips. The announcement of this new iMac Pro at the March event has actually not been mentioned by Mark Gurman. And then Russ Young, who so far has a 100% track record, has also stated that we could see this new iMac Pro in June. But considering that Apple already has the M1 Pro and M1 Max chips ready to go, and we've also seen that EEC filing, which did point towards 2 new Mac desktop computers, there is still a small chance that we might see it at this event. Reason why I wanted to mention it, although I think the chance is really, really low. 20% is what I would say. This would finally update the 27-inch model to have the same design that we got last year with the 24-inch M1 iMac. The display is also said to be a mini LED promotion panel with either a 27-inch size, 30-inch size, or 32-inch. I would put my money on a 30-inch panel. There's no denying that this would be the best display for content creators out there, even better than the Pro Display XDR in terms of the dimming zones and of course the cost. It will likely be thicker than the 24-inch iMac to accommodate for this new mini LED display, and even the updated specs, which could include a more powerful version of the M1 Max with up to 12 CPU cores, according to leaker Dylan DKT's last tweet, after which his account was mysteriously taken down. Even though I do prefer using MacBooks myself over something like an iMac, I do think that this new iMac will be an outstanding deal for content creators, as you not only get the power of Apple's M1 Max chip, but you also get a state-of-the-art display. And on top of this, that M1 Max will also be able to run faster than inside a 16-inch MacBook Pro, thanks to more thermal headroom. And we would also get more ports, with likely 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports instead of 3, and potentially some USB-A ports too, on top of 10 gig Ethernet. Okay, and number 1, this is a bit of an odd one. You remember the EEC filing that showed 3 new Macs? Well, one of those was a laptop. And I think that if we are to see a new MacBook, it would make the most amount of sense for us to see that new 14-inch model that I was talking about in this video right here. This would basically be a replacement to the 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro that Apple is still selling to this day. Something that is more affordable than the current 14-inch that starts from $2,000. This model is said to keep the same design as the 14-inch MacBook Pro, but drop the mini LED promotion display in favor of a more standard non-promotion, non-mini LED display, so similar to what we have at the moment on the 13-inch model. And then it is also said to drop the M1 Pro and M1 Max chips in favor for the M2 chip that would be far more power efficient. The only problem with this is that Apple would need to unveil the M2 chip before launching the new MacBook Pro, obviously. And I just don't see them launch the M2 at a March event, as Apple Silicon has always been announced in either June at WWDC or in September, October, or November. It's never been announced in March, especially as we've only had the M1 Pro and the M1 Max chips introduced in November. So I just don't see this happening in March. I'm gonna give it a 0% chance of us seeing this new MacBook. I might be wrong though. I still wanted to mention it as there have been some rumors that do point towards this new MacBook Pro coming in March. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you guys want to see at this event? And definitely subscribe for a more detailed video covering the Mac Mini, as well as a deeper dive into the new iMac. I'm Daniel, this has been Zone of Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zone of Tech, signing out. Cheers.